I'm sitting here with a million thoughts flying through my mind, trying to think of the perfect way to sum up my time in Cape Town in a single story. Trying to pick out every single tiny detail and describe each and every sight, sound, taste, smell, and emotion. Stop, breathe, think, how? Getting there. How do I describe the countdown and the anticipation? How do I explain the frustration of packing and unpacking and repacking my bags to be sure everything is just right? How do I describe what it's like to travel alone for the very first time? How do I describe shaky sobs through airport security, puffy eyes boarding the plane, and soft smiles of reassurance from complete strangers? How do I explain the airport in London and feeling completely alone while hundreds of people buzz by? How do I explain what it was like to arrive in a country and know absolutely no one? How? Being here. How do I explain what it feels like to stand at the top of Table Mountain and stare out at what feels like all of Cape Town? How do I describe the hues of each night's uniquely breathtaking sunset? How do I describe the vast, lush green winelands of Stellenbosch? How do I describe the ways the sandy, white beaches contrast with the bright blue ocean and sky? How? How do I tell you about forming instant, real friendships? How do I explain laughing until you cry and crying until you laugh? How do I explain coffee dates and coffee dates and coffee dates? How do I describe weekends of dancing the nights away on Long Street or staying in sipping wine and playing Scrabble? How do I explain inside jokes about scones and biscuits or sayings like, "Sure thing, LOL, Mom"? How do I describe what it was like to get used to dorm life again and my crazy Leesvik family tucked away in Mowbray? How? How do I describe the culture and the community? How do I explain rows of colorful houses in Bocop or what it was like to have my homestay there? How do I explain the men yelling from open doors of crowded minibus taxis? How do I describe the joys that volunteering at Shako each Tuesday brought? How do I describe the 5-year-old who melted my heart? How do I describe what attending class on the planet's most beautiful campus feels like? How? How do I describe how it felt when my family finally arrived in South Africa? How do I explain what it was like to show them all of my favorite places and to create new favorites while they were here? How do I describe standing in the middle of nowhere searching for the Southern Cross? How do I describe what it was like to drive through acres of uninhabited land in search of wild animals on the game reserves? Or how hard everyone laughed as I cried tears of joy as herds of elephants surrounded us? How do I explain how it feels knowing that I've been here growing and changing and knowing that everyone back home has been doing exactly the same? How do I describe how every time I think about getting on the plane and heading back to the States, my eyes begin to well up with tears? How do I say goodbye to my new life in Cape Town, knowing it's potentially forever? How? I can't tell you a single story because my 5 months in Cape Town is comprised of hundreds of stories. I can't tell you one story because one story leads to another, which leads to another, which leads to another, and I'm sure you get the point. What I can tell you, however, is that Cape Town, as cliche as it may sound, will forever have a piece of my heart. My story is one of growth. It's one of happiness and patience, one of curiosity and newfound confidence. It's one of learning and understanding, and exploration. It's one of admiration, acceptance, and appreciation. Cape Town is, and always will be, a place that changed me for the better.